I'm going to go ahead and create a sphere in oil pastel. And so the first thing I need is all of my oil pastels prepped and wrapped so that they don't break too badly. I have a piece of paper put underneath my original paper. This is to catch any oil pastel crumblies, to use as a scratch off paper to clean my oil pastels. And I have a demonstration circle just for you all to see how I'm going to curve my strokes, and one that I'm actually going to work on. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is choose my two colors to work with. So I'm going to choose a darker blue and a lighter blue, I believe. Actually, let's see if I can do these two. That would be kind of cool. So I have a dark blue and a light blue I'm going to go ahead and use. Before I would get started, I would use my scratch off paper. Let me pull this out to clean these off. So I've already done that for a different demonstration. And the purpose of doing this is the oil pastels are super sticky. So they attract all kinds of other little flecks of color, which is really annoying. So you need to kind of scribble off the sides of it, scribble off the tip, and really make sure that you don't see any flecks of color that come off onto your paper. These I haven't really used before, so they should be okay in theory. And they were sitting kind of by themselves in the set here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything except for on the tip of this one. Yep. Okay. So these are set and ready to go, and I have my demonstration thing here. So just a really quick reminder. So for this particular tutorial, we are going to basically do some fake shading. And what I mean by that is there's not a strong light source that would create a core shadow or cast shadow or anything like that onto this piece. So I'm not using a reference to look at. So what I'm going to do is keep the highlight of my shape in the center and create, make it dark around the edge just to create the illusion that this is kind of popping forward and the edges are curving back. So I'm just calling this fake shading because I'm not looking at a drawing reference and I don't have a strong light source or anything like that. The other thing is I have a dark color and a light color. The light color will be the highlight, so that'll be the second color that comes through. The dark one I'm going to start with first, so the dark will be towards the edges mainly, and we'll keep it super light in the center. The other thing I have to think about is I have to curve my strokes as I go across. So I drew this as a reference, and basically what this looks like is longitude lines on a globe. It almost kind of looks like lines on a pumpkin. So it connects the poles, right, the top and the bottom, using a curved line. And what that starts to do is remind us to curve in these directions as we shade. So towards the outermost edge, you're going to have the most curve to your stroke. As you go across, less and less curve. As you go this way, more curve in a different direction to most curve in the outside. I'm actually going to do a cheater thing in the middle where I flip my paper because it's easier for me to do one side than the other. So to get started, what I'm going to do is take my darker color and I am going to press really hard toward the outside, curving my stroke the most, let up to lightest pressure in the center where I am almost straight up and down. I'm going to flip my paper and then do that exact same thing over again. So toward the outside, I am curving my stroke the most. And I'm also pressing the hardest with my oil pastel. As I go across my shape, I'm gradually letting up my pressure. So I'm letting up to my medium pressure. So you'll see more of the white of the paper showing through. As I go across to the middle, less pressure and also less curve. As I end up at the center, I'm keeping my oil pastel super light and it's basically straight up and down at this point. Okay, so I have something that looks like this. This actually looks pretty good to start. I'm missing a little bit of my medium pressure. I feel like I went from hard to not really medium, so I'm going to fill that in just real quick, so hopefully it looks a little bit better on camera. And I'm actually not digging this color of pastel for some reason. It's actually not as smooth as some of the other ones in the set, so not sure what's up with that. That looks a little bit better. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my paper. So rather than kind of curve my hand backwards, I am going to flip my paper. I'm actually going to kind of fold it over just so that y'all can see. And I'm going to do that exact same side again. Just because I'm right-handed, it's easiest for me to do the left-hand side of this particular shape. And so again, I'm pressing the hardest toward the outside. And it also has the most curve, right? And as I go across my shape, I am letting up the pressure. So I'm letting up to medium pressure. Letting up to lighter pressure, less curve. Letting up to lightest pressure, which is basically straight up and down, and then off. Okay, so I have something that looks like that. That looks pretty awesome. So at this point, I have sort of the illusion that the shape of a circle is becoming a form, and form is three-dimensional. So I'm creating that illusion on paper. Now, I'm not done yet. This looks pretty great. I'm going to attempt to add a lighter blue in the center, okay, for my highlight. So I'm not sure exactly how this will turn out. This may be too similar to really show some like a highlight and shadow in here, but we'll see how it goes. So at this point, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm basically going to start in the middle and work my way out and kind of curve in the direction of the shape. So in the center, oh, and I'm also going to press pretty hard as well. So in the center, I'm pressing pretty hard, and I'm pressing pretty hard the whole way. I'm just making more of an effort to curve my strokes. And I'm going to leave the outside, that pure blue, and then I'm going to do the opposite on this side. I would paper flip it, but I'm feeling even lazy right now. Pressing kind of hard. Pressing hard until I get to that pure blue. And then what I'm going to do is, because right now it basically looks like Smurf blue and I want to add some depth, I'm going to come back in and do my initial fade one more time. So I'm going to do what's called a sweep. This basically means I come back in, hard, medium, and light pressure in the same way that I did before on top. And what it does is bring back in that original blue. So hard, medium, light, hard, medium, and light. And I'm matching the strokes accordingly. Okay, so this has a little bit more of depth to it. I probably should have blended this into white, but I think you get the point. So this is my sphere in oil pastel. So it has dark to light to dark again. It's curved. It has two colors that are, two blues that are blending together. And it's starting, keyword being starting, to look three-dimensional.